Arthur.
Hi, Emilio.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Bite My Shiny Metal podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm super excited because we're joined with our lovely guest this week, Ian. Hi, Ian.
Hi. Thanks
How
for
are
having me,
you?
boys.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you.
Thank you for joining us.
You have a long history of being on podcasts, so we're super excited to have you be on ours.
Yes, I think I even told you when you were starting this, I was like, my recommendation would be don't do it because it's just so time consuming.
Oh my God.
You're that Ian. Okay, now I know who you are.
And
okay.
of course, I did not listen to you. And then of course it came back to bite me in the butt. So it being your first time, tell us about your experience with Futurama. When did you first see it? When did you fall in love with it? Why do you love it still? Tell us.
I watched it when it first aired. I remember being super excited when it was like like the previews. I remember being so excited because at the time, what year did it premiere? I forget.
1999.
Okay. Because like I was still very much in love with The Simpsons, but it was like that style meets sci-fi. So I was like, ooh, this is incredibly up my alley. And I remember being like super excited and like watching it religiously when it was on. The later seasons, like I didn't catch the revival. That was, what was that, 2 seasons or 3 seasons?
Which revival?
The last one.
Oh, okay.
Central run.
Yeah,
I think that was like 3 seasons. So you've got you've got 4 kind of segments of the show. You have Space Pilot 3000, to The Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings. You have the movies, which they cut up into a season.
It's like season 5 on Hulu.
Yeah, you have the 3-ish seasons that then ran on Comedy Central, and then you have the upcoming revivals coming in 2023. So
yeah,
I saw the movies. I just didn't see the Comedy Central. I don't know why. I remember people being like, "Oh no, it's really like some of it's even better than the original stuff," and I meant to check it out, but I never did.
Yeah,
there are some really great episodes in that run. You should dive, especially the one I personally really like. There are 2 great ones: one with his mom, one with his dad. And then there's one where they go back to colonial times.
Oh yeah, the time travel one.
Yeah.
I'm the one with his mom always makes me sad. And then but my favorite is, well, actually I was gonna ask Ian, but my favorite episode is still The Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings. But Ian, do you have a favorite episode? Tell the children.
So I'm so used to, like, when I talk Buffy on my podcast, I know everything by heart. I don't know the names of the episodes.
Describe it.
Well, get off the line.
I know. I think I don't know. I think my favorite episode might be the oh no. Oh God, now I can't think. I'm thinking of like a few episodes. I love when Leela meets her family for the first time in the sewer. But I also love, I don't remember why this happens, but when Bender goes on the island and they like live naturally and he becomes like
absolutely robot. Fabulous. Yeah, the upgrades.
But also I love, is it Ma or the
Mom?
Mom. I love the first episode with her. I love that episode.
Yeah, I think we're coming up on that pretty soon, actually.
Yeah, she's in the anchovies episode, which I think is like 5. It's not 4. It's like 5 or 6.
Okay, because, I thought it was in like season 2. I didn't know she was introduced that early.
It's in this season because next episode is Love's Labor Lost in Space. Love's Labor is Lost in Space is the next episode. All good picks, Ian. No wrong answers in this podcast. Thank you. Okay, so I want to start off with some fun facts. So we're on season 1, episode 3, I, Roommate, which is a throwback to Isaac Asimov's Tales of I, Robot, which 5 years later also became a Will Smith movie, I, Robot, which is one of my go-to movies to watch casually because I like sci-fi. And like robots go crazy and attack the people of Chicago, of like futuristic Chicago. So what's not to like about that?
I do like that movie. The movie is good.
It's a good movie.
iRobot's a great movie. Yeah.
Yes.
I was actually, outside of everything else that's recently happened with Will Smith, I actually did see online somebody had posted a screen grab of, do you remember when Sonny draws the bridge at the end?
Yeah.
Somebody had posted that and was like, where exactly in Chicago is that bridge supposed to be? In the middle of Lake Michigan?
Yeah, because then I'm always like, when did we build a bridge? And then it became so decrepit within like 5 years.
And apparently the part of the lake they built it in dried out, which very well may happen, but like by 2035 or whenever that movie is, which is not that far away.
Climate change, ladies. So the original air date was April 7th, 1999, and it was written by Eric Horsted. It's actually premiering in like 4 days. I love this. New York has an owl problem, and I looked into this because sometime before the show began, New York was having an issue with a rat overpopulation. So the people in charge decided to breed more owls to get rid of the rats, and then owls became their new problem because they took over. This is why
joke.
Yeah, this is why there's like no rat traps or anything like that. There's owl traps. You see owls in like every scene where there should be rats outside on the street or anything like that. So it's always owls now.
Okay, when was that is that just like a fun fact that like the writer said, or like do they say that?
So like in this scene is the first time that we hear about an owl problem when Hermes is like the owl traps and then like snaps. And so then I was looking into it because in like so many references in the series, there's like owls everywhere. And I looked into it, and the show creators actually said that the canon is like sometime before the series begins, New York is like, let's introduce owls to kill the rats. And then now they have an owl problem.
Because that bit did make me laugh.
Yeah. The TV of the future is oversaturated because Fry is on the couch. And he comments that there's 40,000 channels and only 150 of them have anything good on, which, I mean, the way
perfect harbinger for the streaming era, I feel. Perfect harbinger for the streaming, because I'm always like, let's see this vast array of Netflix programming. And then I scroll for 5 minutes, look at Watson, and decide, let's go watch Bob's Burgers or Futurama again instead.
Yeah. That's the same. I'm like every night it's like, maybe I'll start something new tonight, and then no, I'm putting on Seinfeld again.
Who has the mental energy after a long day of whatever we're doing that day to start something new? Let me just watch American Dad over and over again. So Bender's apartment at Robot Arms Apartments, his apartment number is 001-00100, which when converted from binary to a numerical value is 36, or it's also the ASCII character $, which we know Bender's all about money. He draws the $sign many times. It's a callback to Bender. It fits him perfectly. When they move into Mobutu, yes, thank you. When they move into Professor Mobutu's apartment, the doors in the apartment, along with some other doors, are the same sound that the doors in Star Trek make. And there's also another little callback to Star Trek here. I forgot her name, but Bender calls her the big butt lady. Her phone, when she closes it, it has the same chirp as a tricorder from Star Trek as well. Is it the tricorder or the comm badge? It has the same chirp, regardless.
It's the original series communicator, which was the flip one. They did fun fact about Star Trek. They moved that with the Next Generation, the flip phone thing, into the comm badge. So in the original series, the decorations on their chest are purely decorative. It's in the later shows where it becomes functional.
Yeah.
Because by the time the Next Generation comes around in the 80s, they're like, we don't need to give them that prop. We can
do this better. Welcome to the podcast, Ian. We're all nerds here and we love Star Trek. The theme music to the series The Odd Couple is heard when Fry and Bender move into their new apartment, and its iconic umbrella staking a cigar bit scene is parodied. And when they're decorating their apartment to make it their bachelor pad, they take down a Slurm painting that's hanging on the wall, which is an homage to Andy Warhol's Campbell Soup's Cans painting. That's when they put up the picture of the blonde woman with big boobs.
Wait, I have a fun fact.
Tape recorder.
I have a fun fact about that. When I worked at the Met in New York, I rode in the freight elevator with that Andy Warhol painting.
Really?
Were they transporting it, or were you stealing it?
Yeah, when they move stuff around, when they move the exhibits, they have to bring it all to the basement to move it, and then they'll move it across the museum and then go in the freight elevator. And I was there with a cart because I did merchandising in the stores. And they were like, wait, hold it. And you had to like move, like you weren't allowed to come anywhere near the paintings when they were moving them. So I had to go against the wall in the freight elevator, push my cart against, let them in. And just like, and I said to the guys, I was like, oh, is that Andy Warhol's painting? And they were like, yup. And I was like, oh, that's cool. They were like, like they didn't give a shit.
It's the most New York interaction possible.
Yeah.
Like, here's a multi-million-dollar famous painting. Don't spit on it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Is it just
don't fucking talk to me about it?
and they all sound like Sal too. What do I look like here? It's a multi-million-dollar painting. What are we doing?
Is it just carried out in the open, or is it like in a case?
No, like it's like in a plastic wrap.
Oh, okay. I guess
and then they put it on like a giant cart. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. This is the first time we meet Calculon, Boxy, and Monique from All My Circuits. And the first time we also meet Hattie McDougal and Randy Munchnick. They are both going to be regular recurring characters. I forget how gay Randy sounds from the beginning. And this entire time I thought Hattie was like crazy. I don't want to say lower income, but she's the landlord of this fabulous apartment. So
well, it varies. She and Petunia they flip them around sometimes.
Is that who I'm thinking of?
No, well, it depends. Petunia's the one on the bus to Nutley.
Petunia.
The cigarette.
Yes.
But Hattie, I feel like Hattie's base design template was the crazy cat lady from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
But I love, excuse me, Hattie McDougal. I love Hattie. She's great. I have a specific quote of her saved for later on. I'm very excited.
Okay. I just love her. I know her for all of her whatchamajiggers, whatchamacallits.
Young whatchamacallit,
yeah.
Idiot.
All right. Last fun fact. In this episode, we finally learned that Bender drinks alcohol because the chemical energy keeps his fuel cell charged, but smoking is simply because it makes him look cool.
Which I think is the first retcon in the show, 3 episodes in.
Yeah. Opening.
I was gonna ask. Okay, that's what I was gonna ask, because like Futurama, I watch a lot of American Dad too, like you, Emilio, and like an American Dad, they'll throw out something like that and then it never, like, that doesn't matter and it's not in the plot the next episode. So I was wondering if that Bender bit, because I did not remember that at all. I was like, wait, is that actually like throughout the show, or is that just like a gag in this episode and we don't go back?
Yeah, no, they say it, they like explain it there. The alcohol keeps his fuel cells charged, but then like seasons down, when they're trying to solve the like global warming problem and they find out that the robot's exhaust is what's warming up the planet. Spoiler. The professor says that they started to use alcohol when they first were creating the robots to fuel them because they had alcohol everywhere. And
so it is like,
so it is like retconned and later on.
In the first episode, like it explicitly in Space Pilot 3000, there's a dialogue exchange between Fry and Bender where it's, I think, if memory serves, and I'm pretty fried from school, but I think Bender makes explicit that he just likes alcohol. This episode makes it clear that no, he needs it, which is what becomes a major plot point throughout the rest of the series. Like there are multiple times where whenever Bender has it rough, he's sober, which is one of my favorite meta commentaries the show offers. It's a major thing from here out. It's just a change from 2 episodes ago.
All right.
Yeah. And the opening subtitle at the start of the episode is "As Seen on TV." Yes. Okay. Before we get into the plot, I've been drinking a ton of water. I need to go pee. I will cut this out of the final recording. I will BRB. Okay, so jumping into the plot. Since his arrival in the future, Fry has apparently been living in the Planet Express offices, and because of this, Hermes arranges an immediate staff meeting regarding their workplace's conditions, his habits of eating everything, attracting owls with crumbs, using the emergency chemical burns shower irresponsibly. And he also is using the ship's engines to dry his hair, which, according to Leela, is giving him huge doses of radiation at the cost of throwing off the calibration of their output, which quickly makes it known to everybody that Fry's presence is disrupting business. It's kind of funny because it takes like a month for everybody to notice that Fry's just squatting in the Planet Express offices.
I really liked, I mean, I felt seen. I'll tell everyone I was 10 minutes late today to this recording when he's like, if you're to sleep at the office, can't you at least be on time to work? And it's like, they're like trying to wake him up and he's literally on the desk and they're already having the meeting. Because that would be me. I'd be like, yeah, I'll make it. And then somehow oversleep with everyone around me.
Are you crazy? You're getting a huge dose of radiation. Hey, when you look this good, you don't have to know anything. No, that's not it. No, that's, oh, I messed up the
I
quote.
think that was it.
Was that
no,
it?
what it is,
I'm not
that,
gonna say.
are you crazy? You're getting a huge dose of radiation. Yeah, and great lift. Do you know how long it's going to take me to recalibrate those engines? When you look this good, you don't have to know anything. That's the quote.
Yeah.
That was very good. That was very good.
It was good. This, like I was saying in the fun fact, this is where Hermes talks about the owl problem. You hear like the owl trap in the background. It's also kind of funny that like Hermes says, this has been going on for about a month now, which is as long as Fry's been here. So I'm appointing him the like head of the committee to find out where this problem is coming from. And it's so funny because it's like, we know who the problem is. Say
As the shocking graph indicates, our water consumption has tripled in the last month. I noticed Fry has been living here a month. So I am appointing him head of a committee to find out what's going on. Fry, vroom, vroom, and he's in the emergency chemical shower.
He was just like being shitty because he knew it was Fry, right?
No, I think he was actually.
Oh,
Hermes' competence varies depending on
yeah.
Sometimes Hermes is very on it. Sometimes Hermes is a total idiot.
Because I feel like for the most part, he's the smartest one of the group. But I mean, that's not saying that much, but like, right, he's like the smarter one.
Yeah, he's smarter than the others.
The most dedicated to policy and procedure. Don't eat that.
Yeah.
Certainly the one most dedicated to policy and procedure within the office. So.
Right. So the group goes to talk with the professor about Fry's living arrangements, and the last straw is cut when Fry accidentally eats the professor's alien mummy of Emperor Nimbala, who is noted to taste like beef jerky, and is utterly upset as it was he, the professor, who was going to eat him. Due to the events of this morning, it is decided that Fry has to go. Leela tries to be diplomatic, but that seems to go nowhere, as Fry and Bender are more interested in All My Circuits, the futuristic version of All My Children, and after being physically removed from the office, Fry decides to move in with Bender. So a lot happened here. I want to talk about All My Circuits, because it's one of my favorite soap operas that I wish was real. I want to see more of it. And also where we learned that alcohol fuels Bender's battery cell.
When I was 20, alcohol fueled a lot of my cells too.
Also Emperor Nimbala. I think it's such like a funny little like, you don't really see it coming out of nowhere, because the first time I saw it, I remember thinking like, oh, Fry just ate this like priceless artifact. And then the professor just jumps in with his, I was gonna eat him.
I did think that I feel like the show does bits like that really well, where it's like the shock from the characters isn't the shock from the audience, and I like that.
Yeah, they like give you a quick second to like process your feelings, and then they just throw in their version of it in there.
Yeah.
They're great at the secondary punch, which is, you think the joke is Fry ate the mummy, but the actual punchline is that the professor was saving it for himself.
Yeah.
Which I think also kicks off the professor's predilection for odd foods, because at a certain point, there's another professor quote at some point where he says, "This is an outrage. I was going to eat that monkey." Or no, oh God, I'm getting it wrong.
The monkey's brains?
But he does like to try and eat things throughout the show.
Didn't he try to eat a monkey's brains or something? I remember what you're talking about, but I can't remember what it is.
There's something about him and brain. It maybe. No, wait, that's the Farnsworth paradox, where his alternate universe one took out his own brain.
Oh yes, to see if he
does
could.
Talk about eating a monkey at some point.
I'm sure it'll come back to us, or somebody will comment.
We'll
get back to it. Showing Fry his tiny closet-sized apartment, Bender promptly falls asleep and begins mumbling in his sleep about killing all humans, a dream which Bender considered wonderful after he wakes up and recalls it to Fry.
Several days. We're there.
Yeah. So I wonder in what capacity. So, several days later, Fry decides that he can't take living in Bender's 2 cubic meter apartment, and the two begin a search for a living space that will satisfy them both. So Bender had dreams of killing all humans very early on. I forgot that it was already in episode 3 because it's like a long fantasy of his.
Also, I wanted to point out that when he's like, where's the bathroom? And he's like, the what room? And he's like, bathroom. That was you and I earlier, Emilio, when I was asking you about the video.
Oh, I'm so dumb. Ian was like, are you going to be using this video anywhere? He's like, will you be using this? What was it? Will you be using video
The
anywhere?
video anywhere, yeah.
And I'm like, video anywhere? Is this an app I don't know about? Like, we're just going to record on Zoom. And so I thought it was an app, not, will I be using this video in any of the locations that I will upload this podcast?
I was like, what do you mean? What? Like,
the brainworms were worming this morning.
Again, when you look that good, you don't need to know things, right?
It's the gay 2020 equivalent of what does mine say? Dude, what does mine say?
Because I was like, what am I not saying correctly? Like,
yeah. There's a quick thing that made me chuckle was where Fry shows up to the Planet Express and his neck, he has like a kink in his neck, and Leela snaps it out of him, and then Bender comes over and Fry's like, I think I should move. Bender's like, what are you talking about? You and I only take up 1.5 cubic meters. We have room for a whole other 1/3 of a person. And I'm like, ha, 1/3 of a person. Okay, Bender.
You know what's funny is because I watched these episodes when they first aired, but I don't know them like as well. And I kept thinking, wait, I remember Bender having like a big apartment and this being a small part of it.
Yeah.
And then at the end I was like, oh, right. That's right.
And it like makes you think like, why didn't Bender bring that up in the first place? The closet.
I that's one of my favorite things about the episode is the ending is so stupidly obvious. It's remarkable it didn't occur to Bender before.
Yeah.
I want, part of me wonders if that may have actually been on purpose because Bender also vacillates very quickly between not wanting to be around anyone and being extremely possessive of Fry in particular,
yes.
which we will come back to in Jurassic Park when I will lay out several grievances I have with Bender. But I'm
gonna cry that episode.
It's so hilarious that he just leaves him sitting on the floor, and then the neck crick is a result of installing carpet, so his head hits the ceiling.
That's a note that I wrote down, and I was like, I have questions about the height of Bender's new carpeting because Bender is a Fry's height, and if Fry had issues, I'm wondering how Bender fit in there.
He got 6-inch tall shag carpeting.
Well, as we know, Bender can like shrink down to the size of a large penguin, so
right,
he probably did that. Okay, this is gonna raise some questions about New York, but having looked at apartments in an underwater neighborhood, an apartment styled after MC Escher's Relativity, and one in New Jersey that quickly prompts them to leave.
Rude, that's where I live.
That's a question I have. They are unsuccessful until one of Professor Farnsworth's colleagues dies, apparently to shreds. Fry and Bender end up leasing his old apartment with Bender living in the closet. So I have some questions.
What is rent control? Yeah, I got that question too. And where did it go?
No, the first question I wrote was, he's the guy in the underwater apartment is a typical sleazy landlord because he's like, I have to go change a light bulb. And he like grabs a knife and it's gonna go outside to attack the squid that's like covering the window. And then I love the relativity scene. It always reminds me of that totally different show, but that scene in a Family Guy episode where Brian goes back to college and Stewie moves in to be his roommate. And so they like hang up crazy stairs in a poster on the wall. And then Stewie throws the Frisbee and it hits it. And all I ever think about when I see that poster is Stewie going, oh no, did I hit crazy stairs?
Yeah. That bit always gets me.
Yes.
I wonder, if that Family Guy bit was actually a reference to this Futurama bit, because that episode was after this aired, the Family Guy one.
And they have a lot of the same writers, so maybe.
And as we know in Futurama, they'll do a back to college episode or two too. So
yes. Yes, this season. Actually,
next season. That's season 2.
Is it next season? Oh,
season 2.
Look at me being wrong.
Loud
Ian,
wrong as usual.
I know. Ian, tell us about New Jersey. Why did they quickly leave New Jersey?
So I guess for some reason in my brain, New York was not in the same place. I don't know why, but I thought there was a reference to like it having moved. But so I guess they would have looked at like Jersey City, which is like right across of like water.
The river.
From,
yeah.
Well, New Jersey's not the best place to live. I can understand. It's like weirdly expensive for how shitty it is. Yeah, like when I left New York, I moved back in with my parents because I was like, well, I don't want to pay for an apartment in New Jersey. And like, it's Jersey. So, yeah, but I live like in the suburbs outside of Philly. So I live like farther out of New York. But yeah, New Jersey's not like
the best.
The best. Like fun fact that I'll tell, I just downloaded Grindr for the first time since being back this weekend. And I was like, okay, it's got to be better than Tinder and Scruff because it's like, that's the same 10 people that I have no interest in that I see on every app. Well, lo and behold, I opened Grindr and it was the exact same 10 people that I have no interest in. And I was like, fucking kill me. Like, ugh. So that's what it's like living in New Jersey.
It's funny because it's like that even 1,000 years from now when they're like, technically we are in Jersey, and then the scene, like the next scene, is
not one apartment even remotely livable. New Jersey also, I know we have at least one faithful listener of the program from New Jersey.
Yes,
say something nice. New Jersey also occupies this weird kind of cultural spot in the United States where we make fun of it like it's Ohio or Florida, despite the fact that objectively it's nowhere near as terrible as Ohio or Florida or Mississippi or Idaho or Wyoming or, so like
people think of it as a red state, but it's usually a blue state.
Well, and there are those elements to it because there's a lot of suburbia and a lot of those dynamics that play, but it's also, I think this is a very New York show, and New Yorkers are arrogant. They think it's the best place in the world, of course, and New Jersey gets a particular level of hate from them. And you also see it come out in the Atlanta episode, because I think that's the city you're thinking of, Ian, because Atlanta's the city in this timeline that they actually physically move.
Okay.
New York, they just built above old New York. But yeah, no, there's a lot of New Yorker arrogance, and there are a lot of New Yorkers I love. But yes, you people have a little belief in yourself. But yeah, there's a lot of that with respect to New Jersey and making fun of it.
Another a quote that I always recall to myself when the professor's on the phone and he's like, to shreds you say. How's his wife doing? To shreds you say. I repeat to shreds you say to myself far too often in my life. So they are also decorating their apartment, and I wrote down earlier today, LOL robot porn, when Fry puts up the poster of the blonde, big-breasted woman, and then Bender puts up the poster of the exposed computer with the big, I don't know, rolls. I don't know what they are.
It's
the tape rolls.
Yeah, it's the reel-to-reel.
The reel, there you go.
Tape recorder,
tape
reel projector thing.
But it definitely comes up a couple of times, because there are a couple of times when like Bender or some other robot is looking at like robot porn, and it's just like the internal circuitry of like a computer or a machine or something. At the housewarming party, Leela gives Fry a miniature fruit tree, Dr. Zoidberg brings caviar, and Professor Farnsworth gives him a teriyaki-style mummy. I forgot his name. Amy also brings a cake, but she quickly slips on the tiny banana peel that Fry throws on the floor after eating a tiny banana from this tiny fruit tree.
I like the beat of him just being like, "Hey, Amy," and she's like on the floor.
Hey. And she responds.
Yeah. Hey.
She responds.
And then she briefly gets stepped on. They begin to watch All My Circuits, and each time Bender's in the room, it turns out that the television doesn't work. Bender gets the landlady, Hattie McDougal, and after 4 failed attempts to find the cause of the issue, she finally finds it, Bender's antenna. Through Bender's antenna, or as he calls it, thingy, his thoughts are being transmitted via the same frequency as the satellite reception the apartment building has for its TV. So anytime he's in the room, the signal cuts out, nobody can watch TV or All My Circuits. It's actually kind of funny.
Or on my cell phone too.
Yeah, his thoughts are on the cell phone.
I believe you're mistaken. Wow, that lady's got a huge ass.
Yeah.
Anyone's thoughts, fat ass.
We also, this is the scene where we meet Ryan. No, Ryan? Was it Ryan?
Randy.
Wait,
Randy.
I literally just watched the episode, but who the hell's that?
Randy Munchnick. He's the gay one.
Oh, okay.
With like the lisp, and he becomes a recurring regular. And they actually like are friends with him because they refer to him by his name from like time to time whenever he's in the episode.
They always do refer to him, but he's never in an episode. And I'm offended that they have a gay man who does nothing but complain, because our people never ever do that. We are nothing if not optimistic and accepting.
Yeah, just look at Twitter, right?
Or Grindr.
Right.
I mean, Twitter is so calm and serene. I don't know what you're talking about. After discovering that his antenna interferes with the building's television, Bender is forced to relocate back to his old residence, but Fry stays put. Distraught at the separation from his friend, Bender goes on a self-destructive sobriety binge with a scene of Bender walking down a black sidewalk passing businesses with numerous neon signs. I actually had to rewind this a couple of times because I couldn't type fast enough.
I love this. I love these signs.
Yeah, the signs. Okay, the signs read: no liquor license, public library, Bible study 2 nights, boring geology lecture, and water fountain. Bender ultimately returns to Fry's apartment and cuts his antenna off to show how much he misses Fry. There is actually a scene in here that I forgot to put in the plot summary where it's before his sobriety binge that he goes to Planet Express and he walks in with 5 o'clock rust. And Leela's like, oh my God, Bender, what's wrong with you? Because he's not drinking to recharge his fuel cell because he's so distraught over not living with Fry anymore. And it's just so funny because I remember writing down like, all the things you would say to somebody to get them to stop drinking, the total opposite is said to Bender in order to get him to start drinking. Because Leela's like, please have a malt liquor, think about your friends. When Bender says he's leaving, she says, wait, if you're gonna get behind the vehicle of a car, at least do the right thing and have a drink. And I'm just like, I forget that they need this sometimes.
And then she's like, you've been up all night not drinking. That's the quote.
It's just funny because the 5 o'clock rust is like one thing that gets me because he gets it from time to time. And it's just funny thinking about robots.
See, I was thinking it was like moss because I know that he does get it in other episodes. I was like, is it like moss that just grows on him or something? Yeah. But rust makes more sense.
It's just the sobriety binge is funny because those signs are also funny. That scene where he's walking down the dark sidewalk and then there's like neon signs. I forget where it's from, but I know Futurama is not the only one that references it.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think it's like an homage to like some black and white movie or something.
Yeah, we've seen it. We've definitely seen it before.
It's a specific scene, but it definitely harkens back to older Hollywood films when someone would go on, they're trying to show a character drinking. And so you have them walking down the street and it's the, girls signs. And I love the writing on that. The public library one is my favorite. That's the one that gets me every time.
Same, yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but every time I go to the public library, I'm fantastically drunk. That's the only way I can read is if I'm just totally inebriated.
I'm drunk right now. This is actually vodka, not water. I don't know about you guys. Out of concern for Bender, Fry moves back into Bender's old apartment after an unseen scene where Smitty recovers Bender's antenna. And that's actually the scene where it's Smitty and
Earl.
Yeah, but it's spelled URL, right?
His name is URL, pronounced Earl.
Earl. Yeah. Where Smitty finds Bender's antenna and Earl says, "You call that an antenna?"
Right, because we had gotten Bender talking about it as if it was his dick when he's like,
Yeah.
tells Leela she doesn't understand she's not a robot or a man.
Yeah.
Also, wait, so like when I got to that point, I was like, wait a minute, we only have like 2 minutes left. What is the wrap up here? And I was like, but it's a rent controlled giant apartment. Bender can live on his own. You can live on your own, is what I kept thinking.
But as Bender says, out of all the best friends Bender's ever had, Fry's his first one.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a funny way of wording that, but
because like if we're like I mean, of course I'm thinking of in terms of New York apartments. I'm like, no, but you got that nice apartment as rent controlled. You fucking stay there forever.
Yeah. As a millennial watching it, you're like, first of all, again, what the fuck is rent control and where did that go? And then you're like, you got the apartment. Of course, then I also feel like when you see the rest of Bender's apartment, that's a pretty nice apartment too.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at Bender, but yeah, no, it's very much like there's a generational divide now where it's like that world does not exist for us.
One of my regulars on my podcast, he's from Canada, and he was like, wait, does rent control not like exist in America? And I was like, not really. Like
rent control and manufacturing, two things we don't do anymore.
Nope.
No. So then the last scene, Fry wants to bring in a miniature fruit tree. Bender says you could put it in the closet. It has a window. And so he presses a button and the door that wasn't there before opens up, and it's Bender's closet, which is larger than it's like has more than enough room for a human to live in. But then also the closet has a bathroom, which I thought was kind of funny. Yeah. But like Bender doesn't know what a bathroom is, but his closet has a bathroom, which I get it, jokes to make the episode or whatever, but it's just funny, like, oh, there's an entire apartment in Bender's closet that also has a bathroom. Isn't this also, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but later on, doesn't Bender have his own bedroom in this closet, or does he actually sleep in the hallway? Because there are some scenes where I feel like Bender has a room.
Yeah, he does. It changes. Perhaps the way of thinking of it is maybe later on in the show they move to a different unit in the building. But I've always thought of Bender not being in this room up to this point as a robot. He doesn't get hungover, so he can drink as much as he absolutely needs to function, and he doesn't need anything. And plus, with his chest cavity, he doesn't need any storage, so that's why there wouldn't be anything in any of the rest of the apartment. So he's never needed the space until Fry shows up.
Yeah. Now he's like, okay, I guess you could live in my closet.
Yeah, you want to live in a closet? Okay. And that view, though, Bender's view is pretty spectacular.
That is a very good view. It's a great view, like every scene in a later episode where they like are looking out the window.
Yeah.
So I have some discussion questions. What was your favorite Joker reference this episode?
I really liked, I mean, it's barely a joke, but like when they're in the bar/restaurant commiserating and Bender's just like, everyone's a jerk. Me, you, that guy. Like, I really like that bit.
Arthur?
Mine are both Hattie McDaniel quotes. I love, you heard the mob, when everybody in the apartment complex figures out that it's Bender. And then my favorite Hattie quote is, pardon me, I don't mean to pry into what you're doing in here with the crab and the one-eyed lady and the Chinese girl. Yeah. Everyone on this floor is having trouble with their TV reception.
Yes, I love her. I think my favorite part would be where they're apartment hunting. Because like I said, I love crazy stairs. But then also the like sleazy landlord of the underwater apartment. And then nobody wants to live in Jersey, which I've never been to New York, and like the only parts I've been to in the Northeast is like Boston and DC. So like I totally just skipped the New York area. But it's funny to think about how nobody wants to live in Jersey, even 1,000 years from now.
I mean, it's very accurate. Like a lot of people in New York, I would have friends all the time being like, Jersey City's more affordable. And immediately everyone's like, Like lately I've been thinking, I even told a friend the other day, I was like, you know what? I need to move back so badly that I'm going to consider Jersey City. And the friend immediately gave me 85 reasons why not to. So yeah.
What do you think the episode could have done without, if any part? Do you think something could have been taken out and it would still be a good episode? No, we could say no.
I can't think of anything to take out.
Yeah, I wrote it down, but I also couldn't think of anything.
I love this episode of the first three. This is the one where that drew me in, because Ian, like you, I watched this in its first run, and I liked the pilot. I didn't enjoy the second episode as much. This one grabbed me all the way. I love this episode. I think it's effectively flawless.
Really?
I do think the pilot is like a really good pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the pilot was really good. I've given my thoughts on the pilot. I thought the second episode was fine. I thought it was really cute, but I wouldn't say it's like, oh, this is the same, like the episode where I'm drawn into the series. I'm like sold now. I would say I think episode 4 is what really like solidified my love for the show. But I think like all first 3 episodes are really good. But I think it was episode 4, Love's Labor's Lost in Space, that really drew me in.
We'll get there.
Which we'll get there. Don't you wish All My Circuits was real? I think just because I love robots, and then they're mixed into like a soap opera, but also the soap opera is like using every soap opera trope out there, like the amnesia, the like best friend who's always there but doesn't know a lot, the like plot twist at the wedding, all that, like even the reveals where Calculon proposes to Monique, and then he has like a ring that fits her perfectly. And Monique's like, oh, it fits perfectly. So then that must mean that you know that I'm, and Calculon's like, metric?
I've always known.
Yeah. And then he offers to convert for Monique. So this episode came out in 99. Is there anything you think didn't age well or aged really well? Anything?
I was surprised. There was nothing that I was like, ugh, about that I can recall. I was surprised.
I think the creators and writers of the show were really good about being neutral, not neutral, being, I don't want to say play it safe for the sake of aging well, but
I don't know.
I think they wrote the jokes smartly. Like there's a tinge of misogyny around Bender telling Leela you're not a robot or a man, so you wouldn't understand. But of course, like that's kind of baked into the premise of the joke, where it's sort of deliberate. Yeah, I like I said, I'm a fan of this episode. I think it's aged. The only thing, ironically, the only thing that's aged poorly is the idea of rent control.
I do remember watching it. And it takes a while for Leela to actually get stuff to do, right? If I recall correctly. That's maybe the only, but like, I mean, she's still one of the main characters in this. Like, she's probably the third most, has like the third most lines or whatever. But I know the series took a little bit, because I always, of course, as a baby gay, it's like, ooh, I want to see like the sci-fi lady doing things. And I remember it taking a little bit to like get her to actually do shit. But yeah, I thought this episode aged pretty well.
I think you wanted more Katie Seagal and not more Leela, more Katie. I think also, we've discussed this in a previous podcast episode, where there is like the core 3 in the series, and they'll have like rotating episodes where like this episode's going to be like Fry based, this episode will be Leela based, like when she meets her family and all that, or like
Labor's Lost in Space.
The next one will be more Leela centric, or there's like episodes where it's like Fry and Leela, Fry and Bender, etc., etc. I think they do a really good job of mixing up the three, the main trio, into having their own scenes in the spotlight. So also,
I totally thought Amy didn't come in till later. Who are the characters? Like, isn't there characters that are added into the group later? I thought Amy was one of them.
The Amy, Hermes, and Zoidberg don't come in until episode 2. So it's the main trio and Professor Farnsworth in the first episode, and then at the very beginning of episode 2, the professor's just like, here's them. Anyways, moving on. And so then they're almost in like every episode. There's like very few episodes where they're not there.
Yeah, and then moving forward, in Love's Labor's Lost in Space, you get Zap and Kif and Nibbler.
Yeah.
And then later on the first season, you get Mom. But really, I mean, and then in the second season, you get Hubert, the professor's clone. But and you get Hermie's son, Dwight. But I think the show
and Barbara. No,
La Barbara. I think she hasn't been mentioned at this point. Yeah, no, you're right. She's in there too. But the show doesn't really add, I think, a whole lot of new characters. Then that's, I think, one of the strengths of it is they knew pretty early on these relationships between Fry, Leela, and Bender, and then the professor and Amy and Hermes and Zoidberg really carry a lot of weight throughout the entire run of the show. And then actually, that's a quick tie. I hope that with your All My Circuits question, with the new revival, I would like it if we got an episode of Futurama that's like Fry and Bender sit down on the couch at the beginning and the camera like zooms in on the TV and it's an All My Circuits episode, and that's what we get for the entire show. I'd like that.
I'd love to see that. I think I'd also love to see I wonder if somebody made a compilation of like all the scenes of All My Circuits that's ever played throughout the series, because I was reading this thing about The Simpsons where all the movie trailers or the scenes they see for McBain, all like if you stitch together all the scenes of McBain's movie, it's like a full episode.
Yeah.
So I wonder if like anybody's done that.
The Simpsons in the 90s was god level on the writing. There is some brilliant writing they did back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, like a lot of it, because I watched it so much, I feel like those old episodes, like they don't really make me laugh anymore just because I like know them by heart. But then like the later seasons like don't make me laugh because they're not that good.
Old episodes of The Simpsons? I think the old episode.
Well, no, yeah, the old one. Wait, no, the old ones are good, but I'm saying I know them so well.
Oh, they don't make you laugh anymore?
Like, it's just like I know every beat, but then the later seasons don't make me laugh because I don't think they're like...
Yeah.
Like, I tried to watch this Halloween. I actually was like, oh, let me watch some of the new Treehouse of Horror episodes, and like...
Yeah. Okay, that's all I have. Ian, thank you so much for joining us. We really loved having you here and we appreciate it. Watson even appreciated having you here.
Yeah, so thank you very much for joining us, Ian. It was great to have you.
Ian, please tell the children where they can find you.
You can find me on social media at Ian X Carlos on all platforms, and you can find my podcast, Slayerfest 98, at Slayerfest X98 on all social media platforms and on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and YouTube.
And you just wrapped up the entirety of Slayer Fest, right? Slayer.
I wrapped up the coverage of Buffy. Yeah, we just finished. But I'm going to go to Angel in a few months. But we cover Marvel shows. Like right now we're doing Moon Knight. We do those episode by episode. And whenever the new Marvel movie comes out, we cover that.
Yes. And there's a lot of behind the scenes things that you could get through your Patreon as well.
Yes. On my Patreon, we're going through Harley Quinn season 2 right now. And What If.
Such a good show. Such good shows, I should say.
Oh, great. I'll have you both on for one of those then if you like that.
Let's talk about What If. Well, did you do WandaVision already?
Yeah.
All
the Marvel shows I do episode by episode as they come out.
Yes. Have me on for the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness meltdown that we're all gonna have, because I'm just here to watch Wanda Maximoff fuck up some shit.
Yup. It's funny. I did a Patreon episode actually with my mom, because my mom is like so weird. She's a 75-year-old Puerto Rican lady, but she loves anything nerdy with women. So like she got me into Buffy. I was like, Mom, I know you'll like WandaVision. We should watch it. So we binged it over a weekend and then did a Patreon episode together on it. And she kept being like, I was like, well, Mom, some people think she's a villain. And my mom was like, those people are stupid. They didn't watch the show right. And when I showed her the multiverse trailer to see what she thought, and she was like, can't he leave her alone? Just leave her in her garden. That's what she deserves. Just let her be at peace.
Yeah. There's I keep joking about how we are the epitome of that one Twitter meme where it's like, girl does anything crazy. Her gaze, yes, we stand. Yeah. It's like, yeah, Wanda can do anything and I will be back.
But like, she's not the fucking villain. I'm so mad at people saying that.
Yeah, it genuinely looks like Strange goes to her. She agrees to help out. And what happens along the way is she gets some insight about being able to find her kids. I am holding out hope, even though I know it won't happen, for a White Vision cameo, but I know it won't happen. Because it would be a little strange if she only looks for her kids and not Vision. It's like, wait, honey.
It would be, right? And like, I'm holding out for an Agatha cameo. That's what I want. And I did read that they like later added more cameos like in the middle of
She's in the
production.
show, right?
Yeah. So like, it's not crazy that she would make a cameo, right?
I mean, it could be another dimensional Agatha.
True. Yeah. I mean, she goes to Westview, so like, and like sees herself living in Westview, so maybe we would see Agatha there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You should tell him the truth. I can't wait. Good for Patty Stew. Cash them checks, Sir Patrick.
Yeah.
Cash them checks while I still can. Well, thank you both for being here. It was a lovely time. We will be back for episode 4, Love's Labor's Lost in Space, with another special guest, Arthur. So we're in for some exciting times. And we actually have Ian coming back in a couple of episodes as well. So Ian, this is not your first and only time here. The people,
great.
The people will be seeing more of you.
Fantastic. Love it.
Alrighty. Thanks, everybody. I will see everybody later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. Take care.
Bye.